Alright guys, it's Delta from YGO Anime Games. Hopefully you've been enjoying all the Duelist Kingdom stuff. We've been bringing you a ton of duels, deck profiles, everything. Hopefully you saw Joey versus Keith. That was a cool duel. If not, check that out. We also had, the tag duel, Para and Dox versus Joey and Yugi. Also check that out. So now we're bringing you Joey's deck profile. Similar to Kaiba, we have a lot of cards duplicated in Joey's deck. We just didn't see him play like 40 different cards like Yugi did, so it is what it is. We build our best. First card up, 2 Armored Lizard. So this is a card that never really came back for Joey. As far as I'm aware, we only saw it in Duelist Kingdom. But he played a decent bit there. I remember he played against Kaiba. Joey's deck is definitely full of a lot of normal monsters, a lot of weak monsters too. Joey started out as sort of a bad player and he didn't really know how to play, and even like Tay was able to beat him. And slowly he got a few more good cards for his deck. And next up, Axe Raider. So classic Joey card. Saw it come back in Battle City, of course. 1700 attack, coming in a little weaker than a lot of Joey's monsters like Flame Swordsman, whatnot. But one of the critical monsters of his deck. 2 Baby Dragon. Yeah, a little bit of a weak one. Becomes 1000 Dragon, which is pretty cool, but otherwise, it's sort of stuck there at that low attack power level. But it's a cool card. Obviously Joey won a lot of his games anyway. 1 Battle Steer. So this is a card that we only saw, again, as far as I'm aware, for Joey in Duelist Kingdom. One of those, like, he had a lot of, like, beasts and, beast warriors type stuff going on. Like the Battle Guards, Battle Steer, Axe Raider, Garuzis. Just a whole bunch of beast warriors, that kind of thing. And then we have Battle Warrior, who is actually very weak, but it's okay. Maybe win with 700 damage sometime. We saw this one come back too, just like Axe Raider, classic Joey card. Not much to really say there. 2 Flame Swordsman, so one of Joey's signature monsters. You do notice that we have it in his actual deck. It's not a fusion card. If you're just hopping on board the channel or you just don't know this yet, we like to add cards like Guilty and Flame Swordsman so they can actually be played in the characters' decks the way they're meant to. So we play Flame Swordsman as a normal monster. You can check out our errata document that has all of our erratas. That also has our Duelist Kingdom rules, actually the bottom 2. So when we play with Duelist Kingdom decks for Duelist Kingdom games, those rules are what we use. But yeah, you can see Guilty and Flame Swordsman in here, as well as in the other cards we have errata. You can also see Joey's deck list in our deck list document. That's also in our description. And then in our description will also be our Facebook. Just a good thing to like. I'm sure a lot of you know us already. 2 Garuzis. So yeah, 1800, like Flame Swordsman, coming in slightly above Axe Raider and Baby Dragon and Armored Lizard. It's not bad at all, but it's not the greatest. You can equip Garuzis with Salamandra just like Flame Swordsman, so that's pretty cool. 2 Guiltia, the D Knight. So 1850, we have a little step up here. Like Flame Swordsman, like I said, errata stickers, letting you know we played as normal monster, just like Joey did. And funny enough, Guilti's 5 stars in Battle City was the first card Joey tried to play when he realized you had to tribute. When he played with real rules, you have to tribute for Guiltia, which makes it not as good. Kachikaki, another one of those like warriors, not that strong. If you're wondering why some cards double, some cards are only one of, we had to double a lot, but we tried to make sure cards that are more relevant, more significant cards of Joey, maybe only saw play in battles in Duelist Kingdom. We want to make sure that those are the cards we double. There's a rationale to everything. 2 Leo Gun, another card that as far as I know, Joey didn't play after Battle City. When I say as far as I know, I mean he only played this in Duelist Kingdom. But yeah, 1750, so it is not as hot as some of his other monsters. But still, not bad. It can get over a decent amount of stuff. I mean, Yugi's a lot of weak monsters too, like Beaver Warrior, Griffor, Mammoth Graveyard, Silver Fang. 2 Masaki, the Legendary Swordsman, which is one of Flame Swordsman's fusion pieces. Obviously, it wasn't used as such in the anime. And it's pretty weak for our purposes, but it is in there at 2. So yeah, Joey's deck is going to be very monster heavy, guys. There's still a decent amount to get through. So, he had a deck full of a lot of monsters, and at first Joey didn't even realize to combo with spells and traps, and then he would play a few as time went on. Red Eyes, which is a card Joey won, wasn't originally in his deck, but it became a pretty big staple of Joey's, a very prominent card. 2400 attack makes it his strongest immediately summonable monster. So yeah, anytime you see Red Eyes is a good time to be Joey. And we don't have Dragon Nails, which Rex and Joey had, sadly. Still some cards that we don't have. But Red Eyes by itself is not that bad. Speaking of powerful monsters, this one's the exact opposite. Rocco Gagroto, number 1. 800 attack, 1200 defense. What can we say? It was a card that didn't really come back, but for Duelist Kingdom, it was one of those just whole weak monsters of Joey's that we, see so often. Oh well, what are you going to do except put 2 in the deck and then struggle and get upset when you see it instead of stronger monsters? About the only thing you can do. Rude Kaiser, also used by Kaiba, 1800 attack, which shows quite a few monsters at that attack level. Not much significant to really say. 2 Tiger Axe, another kind of weak monster. Another monster there's 2 of. Another normal monster, I'm sure it's just so much of the same, guys. Joey's deck is just full of normal monsters with different attack points. A lot of them are weak, a lot of them 1800 attack. But unlike, Kaiba, who has like Sword Stalker 2000, Judgment at 2000, 3 Blue Eyes at 3000. Joey, he has Red Eyes at 2400, and that's really his only strong monster. There's Thousand Dragon, which you can make, but besides that, his monsters really like 1850, 1800. 2 Copycat. So this is a cool card to see. If your monsters aren't strong, copy your opponent's strong monsters to get a strong monster, and that's exactly what Copycat does. Yeah, we are aware Copycat had a little bit of a different effect in the anime. We do errata some cards. Copycat we chose not to errata. Duelist Kingdom was very, very different, so obviously we don't do a lot of the weird things that's hard to incorporate, like Giant Soldier Stone hitting the moon, like Perfect Ultimate's Moth, or like Great Moth Swings getting wet, things like Mammoth Graveyard Spell Shattering, or Living Arrow, it was called, Polymerization. There's a lot of things that we can't do. There's other card effects we could maybe change, but we don't want to change every single card. So Copycat's one of the ones that we felt still generally fit the purpose of the card enough as the way it was, so we played it as printed. Some people might do it differently, but that's what Blue and I felt was the best choice. If you can't tell, we're on to the effect monsters too. Lava Balagard and Swamp Balagard. So these are ones that we definitely wanted to only include one of. Similar to Red Eyes, like Joey only had 1 Red Eyes. For sure, he won it off of Rex. Joey also had a Swamp Balagard, and then Tristan gave him his Lava Balagard. And then they sort of represent Tristan and Joey. So we felt it was, we didn't want to include multiples. It definitely felt significant to us, and Duelist Kingdom, Joey only had 1 of each. If you can get them on the field at the same time, which is easier in this deck than in a deck that plays by regular rules, because then you have to tribute for them, they're pretty good. If you can't get them on the field together at the same time, not that great. But Swamp Balagard is 1800. Another one of those 1800 attack monsters that Joey has so many of. And lastly, we have Time Wizard. So this can actually be a pretty powerful effect for Joey. The chance to clear your opponent's field is really, really good. And this and Baby Dragon makes Thousand Dragon. Time Wizard by itself, attack-wise, is weak, but, it's not why he uses it. Good pickup for Joey. Definitely adds a little bit of a dimension to his deck. So always good to see, and Time Wizard became a mainstay. On to the spells, we have 2 Polymerization. Now, sure, Joey didn't have Polymerization in the anime, but that's because Thousand Dragon wasn't actually a card in Duelist Kingdom. It was summoned through Time Wizard getting the coin flip right on Baby Dragon, which is the same thing as Dark Sage, but we use Thousand Dragon as a fusion. That's how it is, it's how we've been playing. That's how it is in this Battle City deck. So we need to include Polymerization in order to make Thousand Dragon. We could have switched things up But again, when I talk about not wanting to get too complicated, nitty gritty into the craziness of Duelist Kingdom, we definitely wanted to just keep it with using Thousand Dragon as a fusion. And I mean, Joey did use polymerization when he stole it from Yugi to make Beast Skull Dragon. So, I mean, but obviously for our purposes, it makes sense, guys. Next up in these spells is Salamandra. So it was, primarily used with Flame Swordsman. Gives a nice attack boost. This is, this and Shield and Sword are how Joey gets around monsters. How he gets around stronger monsters, because a lot of his don't break that 2,000 barrier. This on Gruzy's or Flame Swordsman makes a 2,500 attack, which is respectable. Not that hard to do. It's sad he didn't really use it much after this, but it was prominent in Duelist Kingdom and is prominent in his deck with 2 copies. And then his last spell will be 2 Shield and Sword. So, he uses against bones. This was just a great way for him to get around more powerful monsters. It can get you a game-winning damage in, depending on if your opponent's monster's defense is really low. There are some very low defense monsters. It's in his Battle State deck too. Naturally just a very good card for Joey. And he only has 3 spells. Like I said, very few spells and traps. Then we have Grave Robber, which is errata. In the anime, Grave Robber was very different from its printed effect. It could take any card. I mean, naturally, cards can be much more powerful in real Yu-Gi-Oh! So it was printed with a 2,000 damage, spell only. But we want the card to be able to do what it did in the anime. And it's still similar to its printed effect. It's just no damage and a little more broad. But yeah, so Joey can use this. Check out his errata in the errata document. This lets him steal an opponent's card. Very useful. Very, very useful. 2 Kunai with Chain, a nice attack-stopping card for Joey. Another way to power up his monsters. So between 2 of this and 2 of Salamandra, he actually is way around a lot of powerful monsters. For example, Gate Guardian. We won't always have the exact same solution to Gate Guardian that they made in the anime. So, say you're stuck up against a powerful monster like Gate Guardian. Well, if you can, get out something like a Red Eyes and Kunai with Chain, combine with something from Yugi, whatever, you can get in these situations. You put this on Flame Swordsman with Salamandra, it becomes 3,000, whatever. It gives you another way to boost up attack and can help in a variety of situations, in addition to stopping an attack. And then we have Trap Hole of Spikes, which is really Chasm of Spikes. I'm gonna call it Chasm of Spikes. It does half the damage of the monster instead of a quarter like it was in the anime. Duelist Kingdom duels can go on a while and it's hard to get a lot of damage in, so because you can't direct attack. So we think a half is fine. It doesn't significantly change the gameplay, but we definitely wanted to include it. But it's pretty powerful, so we only put it at 1. But you can also only use that monster as normal with special summon that turn, which does make it a little more limited. But anyway, that is Joey's 40-card deck. Now I'm going to get on to a few more cards. So, Beast Skull Dragon. Yugi and Joey can both make Beast Skull Dragon. We wanted them both to be able to make it. So if they're playing a tag duel, either one can summon it. And Joey and Yugi have polymerization. So if Joey gets Red Eyes, if Yugi gets Summon Skull, they can both drop this big 3,200 attack baddie down. Not much more really needs to be said about Beast Skull Dragon. Thousand Dragon. Like I said before, using this as a fusion monster, it also means that we get to see it a little bit more. Like cards like Dark Sage, and if Thousand Dragon was the same way, it was in his actual deck and you had to summon it when, it makes it really hard, and they weren't real cards, so you wouldn't want to put them in the deck anyway. If you look at the Yugi update deck profile, that's why we don't have Dark Sage in his deck, because they're just drawing a dead card most of the time. This really works better. Thousand Dragon has been played as fusion by us for a while. So there it is, polymerization with Time Wizard and Baby Dragon. Super easy to make. And last up, we have in Joey's side deck, Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. Similar to Dark Sage and Thousand Dragon, and especially Metal Zoa, this was not a real card. Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon was not a physical card that was stuck in Joey's deck. it was just Red Eyes affected by Magic Metal Force or Metal Morph, just like Metal Zoa. However, we don't have Metal Morph in Joey's deck because he stole it from Keith. We're not going to include Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon in Joey's deck when in most duels he wouldn't be able to summon it because he doesn't have Metal Morph. It would just be a dead card. So what we've done is put it in his side deck. And if you'll notice, it's errated. Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon and Metal Zoa are errated because they can both be special summoned from your deck when you have the correct monster equipped with Metal Morph. However, if you drew them in your hand, it means that you can't summon them, which makes no sense. It means that there could be a duel where even if Joey manages to steal Metal Morph, Red Eyes Black Metal is stuck in his hand and he can't use it. So we let it be special summoned from the hand or the deck, which makes a lot of sense. Now, no matter what, if you get Red Eyes with Metal Morph or Metal Zoa with Metal Morph, you can summon Red Eyes Black Metal or Metal Zoa, except that they're in the graveyard or banished, which makes sense. And we've put it in the side deck, so it won't be interfering with Joey's deck and he won't be drawing it in games where he couldn't even use it. We think it makes a lot of sense. Somebody could always do it differently, but that's what we think is the best way for us to do it. And there's Joey's one card side deck. That's it for Joey's Duelist Kingdom deck. Like I said, tons of duels and deck profiles coming out. Now you've seen Joey's. The only new deck in this wave that you've not yet seen the deck profile for is Pegasus. That will be coming eventually. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Keep watching. Thank you guys so much. YGO Anime Games out.